without the constant stress of water shortage. By using what nature has to offer, the system put in place not only ensured an uninterrupted water supply for every need, but also reduced dependency on external sources to almost nil. What's more, each household saved several thousands of rupees every month. Hence, hearing this journey firsthand is truly a privilege. I encourage all of you to listen with openness and to actively engage. Please share your reflections in the chat, note down your questions, and feel free to raise them during the discussion with our esteemed speaker. With that thought, I now hand it over to Mr. Saikat Raut to take us forward with the formal welcome. Over to you, Mr. Raut.
Thank you. So, on behalf of Kerala Public Schools, I extend a very warm welcome to all our teachers, students, and dignitaries present here today. It is my honor to introduce our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ganesh Shanbagh. Mr. Shanbhag is the engineering manager at Dialpad, India, and more importantly, an eco-friend by passion. He's a renowned pioneer in rainwater harvesting and the driving force behind Pocket Solutions, an initiative that empowers communities to adopt simple yet impactful practices for sustainability and responsible engagement. We are privileged to have him with us this afternoon to share his knowledge, experiences, and vision. Mr. Shanbagh, the floor is now yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Saikat sir, and thank you, Sangeeta ma'am, for introduction as well as this opportunity. Hope my audio is loud and clear.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah. Okay, I'll quickly share my screen to start the show. Give me a minute. Okay, I hope my screen is now visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, it's in slideshow mode, right? Okay.
Visible, sir.
Okay, cool. So, as you all know, I'm Ganesh Shanbhag. So, I'm based out of Bengaluru, Karnataka. So, I'll be taking few examples which are mostly related to the geography and geology of Bangalore, but it can be extrapolated to any part of India. So, here are a few details about me. So, that's the link where you can find a lot of details, and that's my email where I can be reached out for any of the queries beyond this session as well. Right? Let's start the session today. I don't want to call it a session. Let's keep it more interactive. So whenever you have any questions, please post it in the chat, as Saikat sir said, so that we can answer one by one at the end of the session. So it's always important to remember the forefathers of our nation, right? And today I have picked these two great pioneers in their own field, right? One, as we all know, the left hand side of the screen is Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, the only man in the world credited to have written anthems for two different nations, right? And as we all know, our national anthem Janagana Mana was composed by him. And on the right hand side is a very equally important novelist who has written another national song for us, which is Bande Matram, or Vande Matram as we call it today. You might be curious. The agenda said it is rainwater harvesting, and why we started with freedom fighters, why we started with our forefathers. There is a very important reason why I chose to use these two pictures over here. So we sing Janagana Mana Vande Mataram every day, every week, based on like where we are. At least in Karnataka, the trend is like for 5 days they use Janagana Mana, and on Saturdays they use Vande Mataram in the school gatherings. Janagana Mana and Vande Mataram both have given very good importance to water. Right? Gurudev in 1911, when he wrote this national anthem for India, it went on to become the immortal poem in the history of India, right? He says, Uchchala Jaladi Taranga, right? What it literally means is that may the harmony of sounds of the river mingle with the melody of the mountains. He says, Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga. Okay. Similarly, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee ji writes about Sujalam, Sufalam, Malaya Jashitalam, Sasya Shamalam, Mataram. But somewhere, fast forward to 2025, the harmony of sounds has been lost a little. uh, every drop of water is polluted. May it be every river, every pond, every well, even the tube wells are polluted. So, the intent of this session is at the end of the session, we have to pledge to have a clean water available to everyone, right? May it be from any of the sustainable water management practices you want to adopt. Gurudev writes, Bharata Bhagya Vidata or Bharato Bhagya Vidata as it was first written in Bengali. So, the shaper of India's destiny. He says you are that vidhata, right? It's not, you cannot rely on somebody else to be a vidhata for you. You are your own vidhata. So this perhaps 114 years have passed since this poem was written, but still it reverberates the importance of water, right? At the end of the session we should be talking about Uchchala Jaladi Taranga to everyone. Having said that, let's formally start the discussion for today. So here is quick glance of what I do. These are my work in progress. Harvesting 1500 plus mm of rainfall in Bangalore efficiently, harnessing wastewater back into drinking grade water, off the grid solar power generation, photovoltaic solar water heatings, EV charging, and there are like lot. I get involved in a lot of government policy implementations and all those kind of things. And like I keep writing a lot of articles to the print media. I write white papers across scientific journals across the globe, and there are few pictures which I have included, which I say learning from celebrities. But when I say celebrities, trust me, these are not the real life celebrities or the film celebrities. These are the real life celebrities whom I learn from. Right. Having said that, let's move on to the next slide. As Sangeeta ma'am was telling, right, rainwater harvesting, there are a lot of solutions available in market, and it's not that rocket science, but understanding and calculating the rainwater harvesting arithmetic is very important. So that's why I have broken this down. And again, as I told you, I am based out of Bangalore, so I have done this calculation for the city of Bangalore, but this can be extrapolated to any campus across the India. May it be a small school, may it be a small settlement or a city or a state, whatever we want to call it. So the first thing to understand is what is the water demand of that city. So this is from the government sources. We use 2632 mld million liters per day, right, or 960,680 ml per year. And this data I have got from government sources, government websites, the BWSS website, out of which 1460 mld is supplied from the Kaveri basin, 1372 mld is supplied from the groundwater. When I say groundwater, is extracted from the borewells. The area of the Bangalore city is somewhere close to 952 square kilometers, but considering the non-governed areas of Bangalore, like Electronic City, it comes to close to 1,000 square kilometers. And the government data says annual rainfall in Bangalore is 1,200 mm. But a lot of amateur people like me who keep their own rainwater gauges, they say that the Bangalore receives 1.9 meter or 1,900 mm of rainfall every year. So let's go with the government data, which is very, what do you say, like very like it's not aggressive, it's very optimistic data. So if we just do the mathematics, right, 1,000 square kilometers, which is 1,000 into 1,000 into 1,000 meters into 1.2 meters of rainfall, will give you so many cubic meters of water, or what is that, 1,200 or like 12,000 million liters of water, whatever it is, right? When we convert this into the standard measurement of storage, which is TMC feet, trillion metric cubic feet, it comes to close to 34 TMC feet. That means Bangalore city received the amount of rainfall which is equivalent or little more than what it consumes annually. So when you take that 960,680 million liters, it is far less than whatever I have calculated. Right? Bangalore would have consumed somewhere close to 28 TMC feet of water. It rained more in Bangalore. When it rains more in Bangalore, why is this a persistent problem of water shortage? Why do you see a lot of water tankers moving around? Why do you even need bore wells? right? So these are the questions which I keep asking for myself, and like these are the questions you should think about. Whichever cities you have been uh, located and you are attending from, I know you are spread across India, and these are the kind of calculations you need to do. So you get all these data, like you get the amount of rainfall you receive from the IMD website, which is Indian Meteorological Department website. You get all the data from the government websites. You can do this calculation for you. Forget about a large city, your school campus. Get the amount, get the area of your school in square meters. Just replace this calculation with the amount of that particular dimension for your school and do the calculation, and you definitely to 210 days per year, because the remaining days are holidays, right? So you can just do the mathematics. What we have found is, at least in Bangalore, the rainfalls will help 80% of the rainfall water is sufficient for the schools, right? But what we do is, like, we just leave the rainwater out into gutters, out on the road, and this is what causes the urban flooding, right? So now we know the arithmetic. Okay, again, I'm saying, if you have any questions on this arithmetic, please post it in the chat. I'm not looking at the chats right now. Once it is done, I'll answer each and every question of you. And like, even if you get, I'll share this slide at the end of the show. If you have any questions, please drop a note to me. I'll be more than happy to answer any of the questions you get. So let's move on to the water carbon equation. So now, having understood the arithmetic of the rainwater harvesting, it's very important to know water carbon equation. So before I say this, right, in 2014 or something, I'm not really sure, 2014 or 15, PM Modi ji, he went to Paris and he signed two deals. The second deal is very famous. He got 36 Rafales to India. The first deal is equally important, but a lot of people have forgot about it. It's called Paris Climate Accord, right? What is Paris Climate Accord? So it's very simple. United Nations has put a very aggressive goals called SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. I'm pretty sure like Sangeeta ma'am and Saikat sir would know much better than me about this, because these are very important to be taught to children rather than adults. So SDG says sustainable development goals, and out of this SDGs, one SDG talks about any city cannot get water from beyond 30 kilometers away. So there is a very clear guideline, but none of the cities in India adhere to this guidelines. That's why India got an extension and we got the waiver of SDGs till 2070, if I'm not wrong. Uh, Politics apart, but everyone should understand there is something called Paris Climate Accord, to which India is a signatory, right? One or the other day, SDG is gonna kick in. So that's very important to understand, because water carbon equation plays a very important role in that. Again, taking the example of Bangalore city, as we saw in the first slide, almost 40% of it relies on Kaveri water. Kaveri is a river, but unfortunately, there is no Kaveri river in Bangalore. Kaveri flows somewhere close to Mandya and Mysore. There are three districts: Kodagu or Kurg, Mandya, Mysore, and Chamarajnagar. These are the uh, floodplains of Kaveri, and Kaveri is pumped into the city 125 kilometers away and 2000 feet against the gravity. The BWSSB, or the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board, is the largest energy consumer in the state. One estimate says that close to 40 to 50% of the power generated in Karnataka is used to lift water into Bangalore city. Okay, now you can understand. When I say I'm drinking a glass of water over here in Bangalore, it is nothing but carbon, because to pump that water into Bangalore city, so much of carbon is burnt, because energy comes from burning dirty coals. There is a very big coal plant in Raichur called Raichur Thermal Power Station under NTPC, National Thermal Power Commission, right? And NTPC burns close to 15 full rakes of train of coal every day. That's the reality. And to supply drinking water into Bangalore, we are actually killing the central Indian forests like Dandakaranya and in Chhattisgarh and all those kind of things to take out the coal and thirst the quench of Bangalore. That's the sad reality. This is about Kaveri water. Tube wells. Tube wells today. like my grandfather used to say, our well has water at 10 to 15 feet. But today my neighborhood says my borewell is at 3,000 to 4,000 feet deep. Other day, like I believe, like I joked this when we met Sangeeta ma'am other day, saying that if I drill furthermore, I'll come out of Donald Trump's farmhouse at Chicago or Florida or wherever it is. That's the hard reality. We are going deeper and deeper into the water. It's not the fresh water. Why it is called fossil water? Because it's at least a million year old. A million year back, when it rained on the surface of Earth, that actually trickled down to that layer of the atmosphere and created a layer of clouds, and that layer of clouds created roughly like for every say about 10,000 liters of water, there is almost close to 3.5 ton carbon emissions which happens. But rainwater is a zero carbon. It comes to your doorstep free, without energy. You can process it without energy. You can use it without energy. You can drink it with no external energy. It's a zero carbon water. That means in order to fulfill SDGs, which are part of the Paris Climate Accord, everyone has to mandatorily do the rainwater harvesting. It's as simple as that. So I just showed you the way how harvesting rainwater is benefit to the environment as well. Solutions to harvest the rains, right? So any rainwater, what people generally have this thought in mind is rainwater should be given to ground and the groundwater should be recharged. This is the wrong thought. The rainwater is inherently the purest form of water. Simple line filtering on the rainwater lines will make it potable, right? You can see some of the filters what I have shown. These are the line filters and these work purely on gravity, and at the end whatever is left is clean drinking water, right? When you have such a good clean drinking water available to you, why do you even want to recharge the ground? Use it directly. That's what I suggest to everyone, right? Now the question comes, there is so much of rain, right? When you calculate that thing, right, like whatever I showed, it's a huge amount of water. How do we store it? We don't have storage, and storage is very expensive. To build an underground reservoir today, the steel is very expensive, the cement and the concrete is very expensive, and it costs somewhere close to 30 rupees per liter to build it. For that as well, we have found some alternate solutions, which I'll be showing in the later slides. So this is what I'm just saying. Whatever rains fall on your terrace, use a suitable filter and store the water in your own premise and use it back. It's as simple as this, right? So now there are a lot of questions, I know, like what are these filters, how do we select the filters, what is the maintenance of these filters? Yeah, to answer that question, the type of filter you need depends on the surface or the rooftop, kind of rooftop what you have. Like some people will have thatched rooftop, some will have mangrove tiles, some will have pure RCC, and the number of pipes coming down from the rooftop. So based on that, we do the analysis and the different types of filters are suggested. It's not a universal solution for, there is nothing like universal filter available for all sorts of rainwater. There are a lot of parameters which define, because like even though rainwater is free from any bacterial contamination, there can be NTU, which is turbidity. There can be TSS, which is total suspended solids, and there can be mild amount of E. coli, because in the cities like Bangalore, people tend to feed pigeon on the rooftop, and there will be pigeon shit which has to be handled. So there are a lot of parameters what we include to find what is a suitable filter for you, right? But this is the schematic diagram. And as I told, how to build huge reservoirs. You can use plastics. The plastics, which are a global threat today, there are a lot of companies which have remodeled them to make these modular structure. This is one example of something called rainy tanks. It's called Rainmax. It's built by a company called Retas. What they do is they collect all the plastics going to landfill and they make these modular blocks, and they have a geotextile coating on top of it to have whatever kind of storage you want at cheaper prices. It is just a fraction of cost than what a concrete tank would otherwise cost. So These are the kind of solutions which has to be done within your premise, so that you can hold the water, you can use it back whenever it is required, right? So it's very important to hold the water in your premise, because monsoon is just 60 days in India, spread across 6 to 8 months, but you have to sustain for almost a year, right? But yeah, schools is 10 months, but otherwise it is a year. So you have to hold enough water so that you can use it for the rest of the year. Then coming to the next part, only when you are satisfied, right, you should do the groundwater recharge. Because I am of the opinion that if you do rainwater harvesting properly, you don't even have to extract the groundwater, right? You don't even have to recharge it, because you're not exploiting the groundwater, but you are still having surplus water. Then you should definitely recharge to the ground. I have shared a link over there as to how to create the recharge wells, what are the parameters have to be taken. It's very nicely explained in that video. It's done by Rainman of Karnataka, Dr. A.R. Shivkumar. He has recorded it, so it's a very informative thing. You should go and look at it. But this is one of the standard recharge bits what people use. What to recharge? Seasonal, excess potable water generated from the rains. When you generate so much of potable water and you don't have enough storage to hold, right, and your storage is overflowing, only then give it to the ground. Perennial, RO discards. I'm pretty much sure everyone is using RO in your home. 1 liter clean water will discard 3 to 4 liters of brine, which is actually not brine. This is like uh, a situation created in India by RO companies saying that you should drink rainwater, you should drink RO water. It's a very falsy claim, which I will reject it. But unfortunately, India has adapted to RO, so RO discards can be given to the recharge. Filter rejects by rainwater filter. As I told you, there will be some rejects because like there will be TSS, debris, and all other things that can be given for your recharge purpose. Filtered gray water. What is gray water? Gray water is nothing but the water which you take bath, or water which comes out of the washing machines, water which comes out of the kitchens. So there are, just like rainwater filters, the gray water filters are available in market, which I will show you at the later point in slides. So that can be given to the ground. Solid segregated from the flush. The solid segregated is like either processed in the septic tanks, or like you have better vortex mechanisms today. A black water filter is available in market, so that can be given. I have a video as well attached. Extra STP treated water. What is STP? STP is a sewage treatment plant, and lot of cities treat the sewage, convert it back into garden grade or the flush grade water. Extra ones can be given to the ground for the recharge because it's as good as clean water. It's all disinfected. Next, after recharge, the next important question is, what do we call wastewater? Is it a wastewater or a wasted water, right? And this is true for all the cities in India. I'm again taking example of Bangalore, but you can even take example of Delhi for that right matter. Delhi has Yamuna. And why is Yamuna important for Delhi? Because it's as simple as that. Whatever like 700 crore liters of sewage generated in Delhi every day is just let into Yamuna. As simple as that. Yamuna is important because it's used as a sewage carrier. It's not that Ma Yamuna or like Ganga Yamuna mentioned in the national anthem, right? So it's today becoming a sewage carrier, and that's why Yamuna froths, right? Similarly, Bangalore had a very beautiful and ancient river called Vrishabhavati. Why it is called Vrishabhavati? Vrishab in Sanskrit means bull, and in center of the city of Bangalore there is a big bull temple, and the river which used to arise at Nandi Hills, it used to flow down the natural terrain. It used to touch the foot of the bull, and it used to go and further merge into Kaveri Basin. It was aptly named as Vrishabhavati by our ancestors. But today, my generation calls it Kengeri Nala because it carries 400 crore liters of sewage generated by Bangalore city every day. It has no life in it. This is an unfortunate truth. Rivers are modified to carry sewage out of the city by authorities due to unplanned urbanization. This is true across any cities in India. Last week, I was in Hyderabad. I am very fond of our man, Sir M. Vishweshwaraya, right? Because he has done a lot of engineering marvels. And one of the engineering marvel which he created in Hyderabad, I think it is called Usman Sagar Lake today. It was meant to be a freshwater source for the city of Hyderabad, but today it's a sewage dump yard. People call it a septic tank. That's a sad reality, right? And this is Belandur Lake, Vartur Lake, the largest freshwater bodies in Bangalore today have only sewage, nothing apart from that. Okay. This is the stats. Bangalore city generates 2,400 MLD. This is as per government sources. I say it is 4,000 MLD as per my calculations. And existing STPs are incapable. We just dump it into Kaveri Basin. But if we see it in a positive way, right, it is so much of resource available to us. And this resource can be used as a major resource for our agriculture, industries, and construction. Look at it, right? Like Karnataka grows huge amounts of sugarcane, paddy, and everything is a water intensive crop, right? To grow 1 kg of sugar, you require about what, 8 tons of water, right? So paddy equally water intensive crop. Does that require fresh water? Can't treated water be used for agriculture? These are the thoughts which you guys have to think. Similarly for industries, right? Like other day, like when I was talking to Sangeeta ma'am, she said like we are in Jamshedpur area. So Jamshedpur area, we have so much of steel generation. The cooling towers, do they require fresh water? Can't it be handled with treated water? Similarly with constructions, India is an under construction country. Every day we are seeing so many new buildings coming up, so many new flyovers coming up. Unfortunately, everyone is using fresh water. Does a building come and say you that like, look, I want fresh water? Can't treated water be used for construction? These are the questions which you need to ask and like question the authorities, right? Only then the change can happen. You can be your own bhagya vidata. The problems with wastewater management: every city has centralized sewage treatment which is not working and which is resultant in the free flowing sewage in rivers and lakes. The smaller STPs installed in apartments and industries, ETPs as we call them, they are like just for compliance. Nobody cares about whether it's working or not. It's there only on paper. SBR is the commonly used STP type, which is sequential batch reactor. Unfortunately, it never works. So, for if you look at any of the nalas, there is only foul smell because there is very bad quality of treated water, and this scenario is there across India. Last week, when I was visiting, I went with my family to Hyderabad. I was visiting Salar, the very famous Salarjung Museum, which is antique piece in itself. Just opposite to that, you can see the sewage river of Hyderabad. That's a bad state what we are in. So that's why I have designed a decentralized solution where every kind of sewage is handled within the apartment complex. So the almost left hand side pic, right, you can see that we, on the last World Environment Day, we had this fifth grade kid manage sewage for us and teach all the other kids in the society how sewage is handled, right? And the second pic which I am highlighting, so this is a gray water filter. The gray water, when it passes on one side and escapes from the other side, all the soaps, detergents, oils will remain behind it, right? And that's the third one, is the black water filter which I was talking. And the last one is the disinfection using ozone, because many cities have adapted to use chlorine today, which is a greenhouse gas. So we wanted to get rid of chlorine and we are using ozone, which is a very eco-friendly gas available, and it is generated inside oxygen to ozone conversion, and that is used for disinfection of water. Yeah,
Have you ever thought of how much
I'm just
easier?
skipping this video for now because like I'll leave it for you to look at this video at later point in time. But this is same thing whatever I discussed over here about the decentralized solution, more in a visual way. Okay. Now, as I told you, I did not stop it at that point where we said treated water, and the treated water is used for all the flushing purposes. If it is used for flushing purposes, it will reduce freshwater demand by 50%. because most of the times every individual uses flush at least 7 to 10 times per day. We also built a solution, and that's the pioneer of Whitewater, Vikas Brahmavar with me, where we convert sewage into 100% drinking water. When I say drinking water, it is IS 10500 grade, a bottled water grade water. Now, if everybody implements this, right, every city, like for example, city of Bangalore, 400 crore liters of sewage, if it becomes 300 crore liters of drinking water every day, we don't need any Kaveri. We don't need any borewells. We can happily rely on rainwater as well as reclaimed water throughout the year. It's as simple as that. And this is very energy friendly as well. The next thing is very important. I just titled it as making my parents happy. In 2019, my parents decided to build a home, rather renovate a home at Hubballi, North Karnataka. And the first thing my dad told me was, let's put a borewell. Okay. I said him, what is the cost of the borewell? He told about 4.5 lakhs. With everything plumbing and all included, it will come to about 5 lakhs. And I told him, like, take a guarantee from the vendor of a borewell who is going to drill that this borewell will sustain for at least 10 years. That is 50,000 per year. Only if he signs on that agreement, go ahead and drill the borewell. If not, I will provide you a solution which will be lasting forever. Okay. And it will be fractional cost of that. And you will get water for generations to come. That was the commitment which I made to my dad. My dad went and inquired to so many vendors saying that, will this borewell last at least 10 years? Nobody gave a guarantee, because all they know is drilling a hole on Mother Earth, but they never know when the borewell stops working. And that's when this idea of a miniature sewage treatment plant came to life. And that's a small sewage treatment plant which is built in the box, which is installed now in my parents' home in North Karnataka. And it is converting to flush grade water as well as drinking grade water. And that's the only independent home in entire Karnataka which is doing this. And today, my dad is so happy. He goes and meets the government authorities and gets them to the home and says, look, this is how you have to manage water, right? But unfortunately, government is not listening to any of us. That's the because they are very incompetent to do any of these things. And as I was telling, right, I keep writing to a lot of media. You can look at that Linktree link later on. But this is one of the white paper which got the international attention. It was done in collaboration with Columbia University under the water researcher or the environment researcher, Dr. Indrani Pal, and her students, Selena Walsterstorm and Adrian Chung. So this is the snapshot of that. The full link is given over there. Whenever like you time permits, you can please go and refer to that white paper which says deploying community water solutions with people for people, right, where we have given some case studies about how we handled water stress in Bangalore. I'll share all these links where you can find my print media articles, which is not related, not just restricted to rainwater harvesting. I keep writing about wetlands. I keep writing about aquifers. How do we handle and a lot of things. I do regular podcasts. My recent one with Nolan Pinto of South First is very detailed. I have that link in that link tree. You can go and refer. And my social media articles are fully about these things, right? And as I told, I learn a lot from celebrities. On the left hand side is a very famous man in India, and the Mahakumbh Mela, which happened during January and February, was actually a success because of him, is what I say. What did government release? 60 crore people attended Mahakumbh Mela. I would say 60 crore people attended, and the sewage of 60 crore people had to be handled near Kumbh Mela. And that was possible because of the bio toilets designed by this man. He is known as Waterman of Indian Railways, Shri Ajay Singh. He is credited to have installed the bio toilets on all the rakes of Indian Railways. And that's why he's known as Waterman of Indian Railways. When Kumbh Mela was ongoing, he was at my house and like he was a guest for a day. And I learned a lot from him. And even if we have an age difference of close to 35 years, We learn from each other, and like I keep talking to him. The second man is very famous, right? Like roughly biopic was made of him in the name of Three Idiots, Funsuk Wangdu, right? So he is Sonam Wangchuk. He runs Himalayan Institutes of Alternatives in Ladakh. I am associated with him. I keep a lot of learning from all the various initiatives he takes, and keep doing a lot of online sessions with him. The next man is Dr. K. Narasimha Rao. He is the one who revived the Chola era canal called Uyakondan through Mission Uyakondan in Trichy in Tamil Nadu. And the next one is our scale model of our apartment, which was demonstrated in the India Green Building Congress, which was held in 2024 November in Bengaluru. And a lot of things, like you can see a lot of celebrities. Dr. Hariharan, he is Pradeep Mocherla, he is Vikas Brahmavar, this Suresh Prakash, and our apartment received a plaque from India Green Building Congress, IGPC, India Green Building Council, for handling sewage very efficiently in our premise. That's the thing, and these are the few awards which I have received till now. The left one is from Prabhu Family Charitable Trust, which is the charitable arm of Quest Global, sorry, the CSR arm of Quest Global, and that's the founder Ajay Prabhu and his wife Poonam Prabhu. I got an award from them. And the second one is from Boson and Biocon, where I won uh, where our apartment won an award for sustainable water management. Before I end, I just want to take a shloka from our ancient epic. I believe it's Manusmriti, which says, Prithivyam Trini Ratnani, Jalam Annam Subhashitam, Mudaihi Pashana Khandeshu, Ratna Samnya Vidhiyate, or Pradhiyate. What does this mean? There are only three gems on this planet: Jalam, Annam, Subhashitam. The water, the food, and the good deeds you do. If you are thinking that the stone is a gem, there is no fool than you. That's what it says, and this is very important. It has given us a importance of water, just like our forefathers said, right? Uchala Jaladi Taranga, or Sujalam, Sufalam, Malaya Shitalam. Manusmriti, which is even more ancient, talks about the importance of water. I just conclude the thoughts over here. I just open the floor for further discussions. Thank you for this opportunity. Over to you, Sangeeta ma'am or Saikat sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shanbagh, for that inspiring and an eye-opening session. We will now open the floor for questions. Participants, please feel free to type your queries in the chat box or use the raise hand feature if you'd like to ask your questions directly. I'll moderate to ensure we cover as many as possible.
There is a question here which says, what is the difference between grey water and black water?
Okay. Before that, there is a question. What is the full form of WWM?
Yes.
WWM stands for Wastewater Management. Okay. So WWM is an acronym used across the cities in India. Okay. And gray water and black water. Black water is the one which is generated from flushing. That's your toilet pans. It has human feces. And the gray water is the one which is generated from you bathing, right? Bathing or washing machines or kitchens, which has no human feces, but it has only soaps and detergents. So that's the difference, right? Is there any other question which I missed? Okay, I think I answered the things.
So I would like to ask a question if you don't mind. Considering the fact that we are accumulating rainwater and we are kind of working forward with it, how would you exactly tackle acid rain?
Right. That's a very important aspect to understand, right? Uh, so why is acid rains happening? That's because of increased carbon emissions. There is CO2, there is sulfur dioxide, and there is nitrogen oxide, which is coming from a lot of industrial and vehicular emissions, which is coming through the in the cityscape, right? But predominantly it is carbon, right? And when there is a carbon dioxide, it actually makes H2CO3, which is also known as carbolic acid, which is a mild acid, right? And sulfur dioxide gives you H2SO3, sulfurous acid. It's not stable like sulfuric acid, right? So these are the two mild acids. So what we generally do is, whenever there is rainfall, right? So we first thing what we do is we analyze the sample of water for the pH values, right? And based on the pH value, we have the carbon filters associated with it. So the activated carbon filters to remove all the acidic contents from the water. And like what I have seen is, it's a general observation what I have done in Bangalore. The rain is acidic when it falls. That's why we get that, whenever water falls, you get that fragrant, right? We call it ittar ki kushbu, right? So that it's a earthy smell of ittar, right? So that's because of the acidic content of the rainwater. But when you store the rainwater for a couple of days, these mild acids dissociates themselves. The carbolic acid becomes H2O and CO2 again, and CO2 is emitted back. The sulfurous acid becomes H2O and SO2 again. So the main thing over here is to hold water, and that's why we store water in the underground tanks and don't pump it directly. So we hold the water for at least a day, or like when you store it for a longer duration, these acids dissociate themselves, and then like you get the normal pH water.
Thank you, sir.
The question is, when and where was the last acid rain took place? As far as I recollect, the strong acid rain was somewhere in Cold War era, which happened in the erstwhile Soviet Union republic called Yugoslavia. But after that, the occurrences of strong acid rain is lesser in India because of the strong winds we have. But there is acidic content in the rain, which is milder.
There
Okay.
is another
There's
question here. Yes, by Khyati Sharma.
Yeah, hi Kathy. So, what are the challenges that can arise in recharging groundwater with treated water? Okay, so there is a very good question. So, the challenges, there are two fronts. Okay, one is legal front and one is technical front. The legal front is, uh, these pollution control boards, right? I don't want to name them. I call them Pakka corruption boards, PCBs. So these PCBs are having the people who are sitting over there who don't allow you to recharge the ground with treated water, because they think treated water is something like it's very bad quality of water, and we have do not have to do that, right? But unfortunately, these are the same guys who let sewage flow into rivers and water bodies, lakes and other water bodies. That's the doglapan what we are having, right? That's one thing. And second thing, when we are letting into the ground, right? So very important aspect is to understand the soil percolation capability of the soil. So any civil engineering like testing bodies, they give you soil percolation report, and the soil percolation report says that like what is the amount of water that can be percolated in that soil in a given amount of time. Because the treated water may sometimes have higher COD or higher BOD because of the amount of chemicals we use. Because like what I'm seeing is India is like progressing and the water has a lot of COD. Because like just imagine, right, our forefathers used to just bath with a simple medimix kind of a soap, but today when we are bathing, we are just bathing with chemicals. The chemical content of the sewage water has increased, so the COD of the treated water might be little more. So it's like important to understand the percolation ability of the pit whatever we have, and based on that the technical evaluation can be done using this GPRs, ground penetrating radars kind of a things, and we can understand what depth, till what depth the pits have to be built, right? So that's the, I hope I answered your question. Okay, let me.
There's Miss Neha Agarwal who had raised her hand. Madam, I was requested to please type your question in the chat box.
Or she can ask as well, that should be fine.
Yeah, she can ask as well.
Okay, so rainwater is pure before falling on the ground. Yes and no, it's pure, but because of the lot of dust and acid content in the air, it might have TSS as well as little acidic content. Our school is very close to the lake. The groundwater level being high, rainwater harvesting is not very successful. Oh, this is what I said, right? You should never harvest recharge into ground, never harvest rain into ground. You should directly use it as a potable source. This is to answer Maumita Talapatra ma'am's question. Do you
There
have
is
any
one.
specifics here?
There is one more question from Rennie Daniel. She's asking, what can we do at schools? We generate wastewater at schools. How can we implement it at school?
Okay. Okay. So, okay, I'm just looking at it. Is it at Ernakulam?
Uh,
Yes. Ernakulam.
Yeah. So, is there a specific question like what you want to do? Can you just talk about it, ma'am? Do
No,
you have landscape?
we are upstate where we have a lot of rain here. We harvest it and we naturally recharge our groundwater. That is, our wells are being recharged based on that. Our wells are recharged, and but what happens is we at schools we have a lot of wastewater, that is hand wash and from the kitchens. If that can be recharged, if that can be used for, say, at least for the flesh purpose or for that something like that, how we could treat it at a small treatment plant at school can be implemented,
Yeah.
as you have
So,
done it at your home in your ancestor place. If something like that can be done in a small scale, I think we could do it.
yeah. So you teachers are better at that, right? Like you always say, where there is a will, there is a way, right? So if you want to do it, you will do it. It's as simple as that. So I'll give you one example of a government school here in Bangalore. It's at Chikkajala. So what they have done is the hand wash and urinals from gents toilet as well as female toilet, they have connected it to a constructed wetland in their own campus, a small wetland with plants which are called reed plants, and there is a concept called phytoremediation, right? So the wastewater is let it into that, and because this roots, right, they absorb all sorts of biological and chemical impurities. The water which comes out on the other side is flush grade water, right? So that is one thing what you can do. And second thing, Ernakulam, as I know, receives 3.2 meters of rainfall per year,
Yes.
right? Which is like double the usage what you might have per year. Despite that, if you are using tube well and the tanker and the grid supplied water, you should look at the options of you storing the rainwater first, and
No,
then
we don't use that. We normally use the corporation water and the rainwater that is being recharged into the well.
right. So as I told you, the constructed wetlands are the way, because constructed wetlands even recharge to the ground 365 days a year, right? So that is something what you can evaluate. Like you can write to me, I'll be like happy to provide you some solutions around it.
Thank you. We'll do that.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, and thanks for this initiatives. Wonderful to know. I visited Ernakulam earlier for that naval base, right? Kochi Shipyard Limited.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's very beautiful place. Like I know the amount of rains you get, but the problem is like when you get more rains, people will lose interest in water. That's the
Harvesting.
another harvesting the water. Right. So there's a question from Vijay Ram Karta. How many of our schools have installed rainwater harvesting in their school? I was curious to know from the members. Okay, it's the question to members. Is it safe to drink RO water regularly? What is your advice to children? Okay, so commercial people will come and hit me if I answer it in a very polite way. So the thing is like uh, there is something
Suppose,
called there is a concept, there is a organization which is very respected by all of us, Baba Atomic Research Center. You can visit their website, and they have developed RO membranes which are like much
Hello.
healthier versions of it. So if you want to drink RO water, please make sure you set the TDS close to 200, which is total dissolved solids, and then drink it. Unfortunately, all these commercial people like Kent or anyone, right, they come and set your TDS at 50, which is not a healthy water. But me and my daughter directly drink tap water, right? So that's the practice what we use. Even like when we travel outside, we make sure that we don't buy water, we drink tap water wherever possible. So that's how we keep ourselves immune to all the diseases. So till 500 TDS you can drink the water. So it's important
Sir,
for you
I
to
have
buy.
one question related to AC drain.
Yeah, let me complete this, Fiza. I'll come to you. Okay. So for a RO, if you have a RO installation in your
Can
school
we
premise, if you have RO installation in your school, the teachers make sure that you buy the TDS meter which are easily available on Amazon or Flipkart. It costs you 300 bucks or something. Then test it, and then make sure that the TDS is set well above 200, and then use the RO meter. Go ahead, Afiza. You had a question.
Afiza, you can speak now.
what causes it, such as sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide from burning fossil fuels, and how it impacts the environment like deteriorating buildings and harming ecosystem?
So is that the question, like how sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide impacts the ecosystem and buildings, right? Yeah, I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
you can see a classic example of Taj Mahal, right? Like why it is changed from white marble into pale yellow marble, right? It's all because of the acidic content in the surrounding atmosphere. Just leave your white notebook out in the open air, right? After a while it turns yellowish because it reacts to it reacts to these gases which are present in the atmosphere. So if you want to understand the real ill effects of it, like how much it is causing impacts to the ecosystem and our health, you should probably read something about nitrogen cycles and sulfur cycles, and how human have demolished that cycle, right? Even today we have demolished the water cycle as well. Forget about any other cycle, right? So if you read about this, you will get the answer to that, Fiza.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste,
Uh,
sir. Neha this side. If I may ask my questions, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you very much for such informative session. It was really too good. So many new things we got to learn. My only question is that box which you have shown for the society, which you all are using, can we also use it and how it works?
Yeah, that's why I did not play that video. I wanted
Yeah.
you guys to go and play that video whenever you refer to the deck, right? So that will give you a complete understanding of how that box works. So let's
Okay.
keep it black box for this session, but I'm right now
Okay.
sharing that link here. Okay, you
That will
can
be
refer
great,
it,
sir.
and the video is there, which will help you understand what happens inside that box.
Okay, great. Thank
I
you
just
very
shared
much,
it on
sir.
the chat.
Got it, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so the next question is
A
again,
question
Afiza was saying,
from
is it safe to drink rainwater? Yes, it's safe to drink rainwater because the rainwater is directly not coming to your tanks. It actually comes from the catchment area, and when it comes in the catchment area, it dissolves all the required minerals and comes to you. And what I have observed is the TDS of the rainwater is close to 120 to 130, which is in the permissible range.
Okay, sir.
Kalyani School, Pune has rainwater harvesting system. Nice.
so
Why
there's a
were
question
rivers?
from Saurav Sharma. Please
Okay.
share a step.
Okay. So before that, right, like there is a question from Khyati. Why were rivers modified to carry sewage out of cities? Okay. Let me answer this in a very blunt way, right? So there are two Indias, 1947 to 1974, and 1974 onwards till whatever we are. 1974 is the year when India switched to something called LDW, long distance water. Before that, people were all self-sufficient. They had their own wells, the water from the nearby lakes. But unfortunately, our population started to explode thanks to thanks to green revolutions and all those things. We were sufficient with respect to food. Our population started to explode, and government had no other way than to do two things: drill deep or get it from far. That's where deeper water or fossil water or long distance water started. And with the long distance water, they had to switch to long distance sewage as well, right? Because they cannot see the city like Bangalore, right, which has 1.4 crore people. If everyone, if all the sewage has to be handled at one central place, it's impossible, right? You cannot store 430 crore liters of sewage at one place, right? And for them, the natural thing was water, because the sewage enters Rishvavati, which goes and touches Kaveri, and Kaveri flows into Bay of Bengal. Once it reaches ocean, it's somebody else's headache, not my headache. That's the mentality. And second thing is, government also thinks about LDW, because LDW is an infrastructure heavy project. For example, the Linganmakki project, which is supposed to get water from 600 kilometers into Bangalore, is capped at 60,000 crore rupees. Right? The Yattin Hole project was somewhere close to 10,000 crore rupees. And what I am talking over here will cost you lakhs, not even a crore. The parents' home, what I did, which is today self-sufficient with respect to water, I did it for 50,000 rupees. For a person like me, it's important to talk in thousands. For a people sitting in government, it's important to talk in thousands of crores. That's the difference. Hope I answered your question, Kathy. This is very political question, but I think I handled it well. Saurav, you say that please share a step to filter water from natural things like you refer the deck of near the recharge well. I have put a link where there is a illustration of how to do it. Uh, stones are, I mean, stone and charcoal is very important because carbon plays a very important role in absorbing your chemicals. Right? I hope there is one more message. Yep, I answered all the questions on the chat. Floor is open. If anybody still has questions, I have all the
I
time
would
in the
like
world to answer.
to maybe add another question in here. Actually, I wanted to know a little bit about the water storage technique that you were telling earlier, which included, I guess, sheets of plastic or something like that.
Yep.
How exactly does it work, sir?
Right. I'll quickly share it again. This one, right? Yeah. So there are two things, right? Like when you build a tank today, the reinforcement is done from outside the tank. Okay. But here the reinforcement happens with recycled plastic and from inside the tank. All these things are porous. It can hold water due to surface tension of water. And this white color, whatever you are seeing, it's a specialized kind of textile, which is called as geotextile. Okay, it's a textile. It's not a reinforced thing. It's a simple textile. So once this storage structure is built, it is wrapped with this geotextile, and once it is wrapped, the water is held within these reinforced blocks. You can think about it something like your prawn pond, right? Where prawns are grown. All the tarpaulin are used. HDPE tarpaulins are used as a lining. Here, instead of that, a geotextile is used, and in order to hold the water together, inside reinforcement is there, and again on top of it, the geotextile is sealed and the mother earth is covered. In that way, you don't even need top reinforcement, and you can even park cars on top of it.
Is there any
So,
concern for microplastics, sir, in this entire setup?
Yeah, so this is a HDP, sorry, this is a, what is it, BPA free and food grade plastics, whatever we use it. So there is, uh, at least like where we have installed, we haven't seen any such things, but I can definitely check back with the manufacturer if they have done some sort of a testing around this. But your concern is valid, only the testing will tell. But this has been implemented even in Yamuna Expressway just beneath it, and the flood water from the Yamuna Expressway is collected in these, and later in the summer season released to the nearby agricultural villages.
Thank you, sir.
and this perhaps would be cost effective also as
With the
compared to
volume you build,
concrete.
it is 1/5 of the cost.
Mm. Okay.
So 30
Uh,
rupees per liter on concrete, and this works out to somewhere close to 6 to 7 rupees per liter.
okay. Quite a difference.
Yeah.
So, any other questions from the audience, please? If you have, ask him now because we are now going to close the session. Anybody? You can raise your hand, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Excuse me, sir, I have one more question related to RF filters. How the technology works using a semi-preamble membranes to cover contaminants. What contaminants it removes?
Okay. So uh, I think like you would have studied osmosis, right, in your schools. What is osmosis? When there is a there is something called solvent and substrate, right? And the liquid always moves from higher concentration to the lower concentration when it is separated across by a membrane. So this is called osmosis. So what is reverse osmosis is basically when you apply the pressure, a booster pressure on the other side, the water tends to move on the opposite direction, right? So this is called as reverse osmosis. So how it is achieved in your RO filters is like that candle, whatever you change every 6 months, right? It has something called permeable membranes which are wound in a spiral fashion, and the water gushes through it with the external pressure which is created through the booster pumps whatever are being used. And when the booster pumps create so much of pressure, right, it leaves out everything and anything on that membrane, and only the distilled grade water passes out on the other side. And how do we balance it back? How do we get the minerals back? Is that's where we adjust the TDS. So whatever raw water is there, it is mixed in certain proportion so that the TDS balance is maintained. That's how they, if you look at the technician doing the TDS adjustment of the RO purifier, right, the small screw inside a RO purifier which you rotate, the TDS of the water changes, right? And all the magic happens with the TDS adjustment, not with the RO purifier. RO purifier removes everything. I think it is 0.0001 micron RO purifiers.
Okay. So one more thing, Ganesh
Yes,
sir,
sir.
that is now a lot of schools are participating here. This program, this competition is for schools to understand how they can best conserve water, whatever you have spoken today. If we scale it down and bring it to school level, what would be the probable budget that a school should look at?
Yeah, it's like this, right? Like first, the cheapest thing to do. There are four things, right? Like one is rainwater harvesting,
Hmm.
one is your digital metering or like analog metering, and the third one is your aerators. The last one is sewage treatment. And these
Okay.
are the four important things every school should focus. The
Okay.
cheapest thing to do is the rainwater harvesting.
Hmm.
All that they need to do is, because what I have seen is most of the schools have rainwater directly coming to the ground.
Hmm.
Just channel them to their underground storage, whatever is available. I'm not asking you to expand the storage in phase one.
Hmm.
Whatever you have, just channel it to the rainwater sump or the regular water sump area. Based on the rooftop, we can suggest appropriate filter which can be purchased on Amazon or Flipkart or any other e-commerce platforms, and then a local plumber can fix that filter so that the filtered water directly goes into your underground storage.
Okay.
That's the phase one. And once you realize that during a rainfall, like as ma'am was saying, she's from Ernakulam, I'm pretty sure the water tank keeps overflowing. Once you realize that the water tank keeps overflowing because of rainwater, then you should think about expanding the storage, because I am pretty sure every school has a ground, and beneath the ground you can hold n number of water,
Hmm.
n amount of water. So that is phase two of rainwater. And like all these things, right, like simple faucets which you use,
Hmm.
make it efficient faucets. Use a aerator, simple 35 rupee device called aerator, which will bring down your flow from 12 liters per minute to 3 to 4 liters per minute.
Okay.
So that will be the second
Yes,
thing.
sir.
And the
Hmm.
third thing, you should understand how much water each thing is consumed. For that you need to have meters installed. Like for example, boys toilet, you should
Hmm.
understand how much is the water toilet. If girls toilet, you should understand how much is the water consumed. Cafeteria, you should understand how much is the water consumed there. So for
Okay.
that, metering is very important. And the last thing is about sewage treatment. Sewage treatment is little cumbersome because it has to be, it's like this, right? You have to do the operation on the patient which is live, right? Because
Hmm.
people are already using those toilets and you
Yes.
should handle that. If you are
Hmm.
going to create a wetland, you should make sure that it is created in the off
Hmm.
school hours or like during the holiday time and all those kind of things. That has to be planned very accurately. And if these four are done, then India is in safe hands.
So basically, again, I come back to my question, that part where everybody is going to look at a certain budget. So, what would you give me just a rough idea of
Yeah,
what a
rough idea
budget
is
would
like
be?
about say 30,000 square feet of rooftop. you require close to 2.5 lakh liters, 2.5 lakh rupees, including plumbing and filtering and whatever we are looking for.
Okay, that's what. So that will kind of be a lifetime solution to address this, and
Yes.
that's a good investment for that.
Yes.
So
So in
if
Bangalore, we run a program called Rain Reach, but I personally call it a brain reach
okay,
because it's not just rains, right? If you harvest rains in your school, the kids will go back and question these things to their parents. My school is doing it. Why are you not doing it? Right? And this is like a chain reaction, right? Like then when the kid goes and questions the parent, it's like a shame. They should go back and do it, and the school can turn into a model school. Just think about it, if 70% of the parents do it, right? And definitely we are in safe hands. Our future is in safe hands. That's how I look at it.
so I would say that all these schools who are listening to you today will definitely get back to you and keep in contact with you to understand how they can implement your methods into their communities and their schools. I
Yeah,
think,
they can write to me over the email, or they can reach out to me on whatever social media it is. I'll be
yes.
more than happy to connect with me on LinkedIn. Before that, I just want to share another thing over here. I'll just share a link. So recently, I've been nominated for the Water Warrior Award in by Better India, and I've been on the finalists. And I just shared the link over here. There is a vote against my name because final is based on the voting. So if you feel that this particular session was beneficial to you, you can just drop a vote to me so that it helps me in getting to the final, like to the podium.
Yeah. Okay, I think now we shall close the session with everybody's permission. So thank you all for your active participation today. Your engagement clearly reflects your commitment to the larger cause. A special thanks to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Ganesh Shanbhag, for sharing such practical and feasible methods on rainwater harvesting. Methods that have the promise, methods that have the methods that have the promise to convince because of their sheer simplicity and effectiveness. And just like you mentioned now, I was about to say that we are also proud to share that Mr. Shanbhag has been nominated by the Better India as a pioneer in water saving initiatives. The final recognition depends on the number of votes he receives. So I request everyone to kindly support him by using the link that you have shared here. I think you have shared here.
Yeah, I just shared it. Yes.
Okay. You will see a list of nominees, but I urge you to search for Mr. Ganesh Shanbhag and cast your vote for his remarkable work. This is the least we can do to thank him for giving us his precious time today. And of course, we would love to see him receiving the award in this category.
Thank you.
We
Thank you,
look
ma'am.
for we look forward to staying connected with him to seek his guidance for our future conservation efforts. With that, I now hand it across to Mr. Raut for the closing address. Thank you once again for making this session a huge success.
Thank you all.
Mr.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of Kerala Public Schools, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, Mr. Shanbhag, for taking the time to share your insight and experiences with us today. What we have received is not just knowledge, but a deeper sense of responsibility to act towards sustainable community living. I also wish to thank our dignitaries, teachers, and students for the enthusiastic participation. With this, we formally conclude today's session. Thank you all once again and wish you all a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just for your information, just now our vice chairperson has voted for you already.
Thank you.
So, yes, I'm sure everybody is going to do that, and we look forward to you receiving the award. That will be a huge satisfaction for all of us.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much. Thank you for your time, and thank you, everyone. Namaste. Bye.